Welcome to Close the Door and Come Here, a Song of Ice and Fire podcast with heavy leanings towards our two favorite characters, Jamie and Brienne. Hey everyone, I am Guile. I am Guile in Subterfuge on Blue Sky, and today I'm joined by Lot.
Hi there, this is Lot. You can find me everywhere.
And Nowhere, and Kama.
Hi, this is Kama, and you can find me at Kama Splice on Blue Sky.
Today we are going to talk about the third and final part of the novella Hedge Knight. And spoilers for, again, everything, maybe a little bit of spoilers for like casting of A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, but that's probably about it. So we start part 3 with it's the morning of the trial by 7. And the first thing we find out is that between Raymond Fossaway and Egg, that when Dunk goes to the Fossaways pavilion, he has both of the Humphreys and Sir Robin Riesling. So Sir Robin was the one-eyed knight that was like kind of a, older super badass. And it turns out that Raymond went to Sir Humphrey Harding and was basically like, "Hey, you want another shot at Arian?" And he was like, absolutely." And then it turns out that the other Humphrey was his brother-in-law. And so he was like, "I'm in as well." And Egg knew Sir Robin from prior tourneys because obviously Egg's kind of a connoisseur, and he got Sir Robin. So, now they count 5. So these three Dunk, and then they're counting on Stefan. So, he still doesn't have enough people. Sorry. I lost my brain there for a second.
Egg is such a resourceful little guy.
Yeah, I was gonna I don't know, just thinking about this too is like how friggin' lopsided this challenge is, and like so unhonorable that this is the trial they have to do. Like to fight against a
Yeah.
Targaryen prince. 2
And then they,
Targaryen princes. 3
well, 3.
guards.
Well, it's 3 Targaryen princes and 3 King's guards that we know of. But then Egg gets his 6th, which we find is Lionel Baratheon, the Laughing Storm, who's basically in on it because he genuinely seems like a guy that doesn't like to miss out on things. And he kind of feels like maybe he can tweak Maker a little bit. Like, I don't know if there's like some rivalry or a little bit of like something between the two of them. So, he's in it for that. So Dunk's like, cool, we have Stefan, and then or Stefan's gonna bring someone and we'll be good. Wait, so we got the 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. So, and then we'll be good. So, at least Dunk's like, well, at least I have people, like I'm gonna be okay. But then we find out that Stefan is a piece of shit because he comes in, he's like, "Oh, I'm the 7th, but for the other side." Haha. And Raymond looks like he's gonna punch his cousin. And Stefan's like, "Oh, I'm sure Dunk understands. I have a duty to my prince." Like, what? Like that's some bull crap. And basically Raymond's like, "Dunk, knight, Sir Duncan, knight me, and I'm gonna fight for you." And Dunk is trying to like not do it because we're pretty sure that Dunk's not really a knight, so we can't actually knight him. So he gets distracted, and Lionel Baratheon ends up knighting him. So we get to see like, he takes his vow in the name of the warrior, blah, blah, blah. So now they have 6. I didn't count correctly before, so I apologize for that. So they have 6. And, Dunk's like, shit, like I've got 6 people and I'm going to lose because I can't find a 7th. So he actually goes along the viewing stand and like yells out to the lords, like, "Don't you remember Arlen? Like, hey, Lord Lannister, like who will fight for me? I defended the innocent." And they're either like not looking at him or just like just turning away or outright denying it. And he shouts out, "Are there no true knights among you?" And there's
This is
just
one of the
silence.
most heartbreaking parts, I think.
Yeah. And, Arian laughs. And then they see, a knight emerges on a black stallion and he says, "I'll take Sir Duncan's side." And they all think it's Prince Valor. And, it's like, it turns out it's Baelor. He didn't actually have his own, armor. So he's wearing his son had loaned him some armor. So Baylor's gonna fight for Dunk. And Maker's like, "What the fuck, brother? Like this dude attacked my son, and you're gonna fight for him." And Baylor's like, "This man protected the weak. Let the gods determine if he was right or wrong." And so that's it. Like that he has got 7. And they have like a little strategy session where Baylor's like, "The Kingsguard can't attack me." So like I'm gonna try to like be against them, because they if I'm around them, they actually can't attack me back, and that way they can't really get after you guys.
Yeah, it's tipped the scales for sure. Wily Baylor.
And Dunk's like, "Well, and Darren's not gonna fight." And we kind of find the rules. Like if Dunk dies, then the gods have found him guilty and it's over. But if both of his accusers die or withdraw their accusations, it's the same as true. And Darren basically already has. So like that's already been done. So it's really up to Arian. Um so they get down to it basically. And I'm going to apologize to everyone listening. I'm the worst person to describe action scenes like ever, but I'll try. So Dunk is lined up against Arian, and I kind of like the bit where Arian Stallion is like getting all busy. And Thunder's like older, and Thunder's like, whatever.
Same old shit, different day.
Yeah, like stupid shit. Like, yeah, like I will, I'll be okay. Um, and Dunk is just like, he's kind of freaking out. Like he's running towards this other horse. He's freaking out. He's like telling himself like, you know, just, "I am Thunder. Thunder is me. We are one. We're joined. Like, be steady, be steady. Don't flinch, basically. Don't lower." And, he does. He kind of misses a direct hit, and he hits Arian's shield. But an Arian actually digs his lance into Dunk a little bit. And so he's injured, and it looks like Thunder's gonna fall. Like he's lurching sideways. Dunk is almost gonna fall. And he's like urging Thunder up. He's up, Thunder, up, up, and somehow Thunder finds his feet again. And you know, Dunk is hurt. He like drives the lance out of himself, and he's bleeding through his surcoat. And his shield is useless at this point, and he's trying to like figure out what's going on. And he sees that Sir Humphrey, who was injured to start with, is obviously injured, and the other one is motionless. um One of the Kingsguard is going against Sir Robin, but he's looking around, like he's like, "Where's Arian? Where's Arian?" And then he sees that Arian is on him at a full gallop. And he basically just like slams into him. And um they're on the ground. Like he's on the ground. They're basically going to be fighting on the ground. Like he's getting a morning star on like put up against him. And he's like, "Shit, I've lost." And Arian's like on top of him and like taunting him, "Are you not dead yet? Like, cry to admit your guilt. Maybe I'll still like let you get away with just your regular hand and foot punishment." And but then Dunk kind of, I mean, the thing is, Dunk's like 6'8", or whatever, 6'9". I keep giving him an extra inch. And he is strong. Like he if it comes down to just like a mano kind of thing, like he's gonna win.
Yeah, you're
And
fucked.
yeah, and he's basically beating the shit out of Arian with his own shield, with Arian's shield at this point.
I love
And
the way that bit was written. Like
yeah,
I felt it so viscerally and it felt real good reading it, just like him smashing that shield down on top of him, like to the point where you're like, oh God, how is this man pulp now? Like
and he,
good.
he was like he would vanquish Sir Duncan the Tall, but not Dunk of Flea Bottom. And
Yeah.
so it's like once you're past like the sword play and jousting, like again, Dunk's like the 6'10" dude. Like you're gonna have a hard time just like beating him up in a fight. And he gets him in the he like gets him in the visor too. Like he had remember Steely Pate mentioning the visor's the weak point. And
That's another thing about Dunk too. You constantly get so many moments where he's recalling advice or teaching
yeah,
from others, and he really absorbs and learns and utilizes.
like he remembers, like, yeah, he takes in like absolutely everything. And we get this thing where he's looking at Arian, and um his eyes are this. So here's some foreshadowing that we're all going to enjoy. His eyes are purple and full of terror. Dunk had a sudden urge to grab one and pop it like a grape between two steel fingers, but that would not be knightly. Like, takes me to Oberyn and the mountain right there. um and he tells him to yield, and Arian yields, and Dunk is like, oh, holy shit, like, okay, like, this is great. And he kind of looks around and he sees that, Maker and Maker's trying to fight his way over there, and Baelor is holding him off. And the King's Guard are carrying wounded people, and the Laughing Storm is with Baelor fighting against Maker. And I mean, they're going at it. Like, they're going at it with like mace and battle axe and shit. Like, guys. And Dunk thinks, I have to make an end of it before more of us die. So he like, I love this imagery where he like kicks Arian in the back and then knocks him face down, and then grabs his legs and drags him across the field to the viewing stand in front of Lord Ashford, and makes him tell him. And Arian says, I withdraw my accusation. And Dunk kind of is like pretty injured at this point, so he's kind of like passing out a little bit, and they're helping him out of his armor and everything. And Raymond gives them the lowdown of what's happened. Like, both of the Humphreys are dead, unfortunately, as it turns out. Um, Maybe someone in the King's Guard. Darren's fine. Um, so Darren's like, so Dunk thinks, oh, his dream was wrong. There isn't a dead dragon unless Arian died, but he didn't.
Yeah,
Um,
and I don't think any of them died on Arian's side. I know
yeah,
it was
Yeah.
questionable with one of the King's Guard, but yeah,
yeah.
they they all lived.
And Baylor comes over and he's like, oh, you want to pour some wine on his wound, not some oil. And he'll send his
Oh my
maester.
God, when they suggested the oil, I was like, no, don't do that. Bad idea.
Yeah. And Dunk's like, I'm your man. I'm your man, Baylor, like totally your man. And Baylor is like kind of a little unsteady, and he feels weird. And Pate is with him, and he helps him take his helm off, and he takes his helm off, and like half of his brain falls out. And
Yeah, like
ugh,
Yeah.
the layers of him
yeah,
of like half his skull was gone, but at first it was kind of like bits of head, bits of
yeah,
skull, and then
Yeah.
something weird and lumpy looking, the grayish.
right.
It
And
was,
he like has a weird look on his face, and then he touches the back of his head, and then like falls into Dunk's arms. And we get like the where Dunk is saying up like he had with Thunder, but um, the prince didn't rise.
yeah, it was so well written. Like I think the line, it was something like a cloud passing over the sun. Like it was like you could just like the light going out kind of thing. Like, and you
Yeah.
know me, I love my gore and blood and guts, and this scene, I quite enjoyed it.
And, they, per the Targaryen customs, they are going to burn their dead. And there's this debate about whether he should be buried in his armor, but his father wanted to like see his face. Before, which is like, oh. And Valar is holding vigil. And you know, he's like, my dad was 39, and why should he be gone, but you're still here? And like kind of tells Dunk to get the F out. And he doesn't he's just, yeah, he's definitely questioning, like, why am I alive? Like,
Yeah.
why did he die so that why did Baelor die for him, basically? And I think, it says, four guardsmen arrived in his camp one day. So it's sort of like, I think he went back to his camp and was just kind of like sitting there in a stupor. It sort of feels like just completely
Feels like
shaken by
everybody
everything.
probably in that state.
Yeah. And, he signs the prince. They tell him the prince wants a word. And, Dunk's like, who? And it's Maker. And he says, I sent Arian to Lys to try to change him for the better. And Maker's haunted, really. He's like, people are going to say I meant to kill my brother. And you know I don't doubt that I did, but I didn't mean to do it. Like, but people are going
Yeah.
to say that about me, and they're going to be whispering about me, and they're going to do the same to you. um and he's like, I don't really remember he doesn't remember what blow killed him. And I mean, it's just like he's broke. He's really,
Yeah.
broken by this, right? And, Dunk's like, it was, I killed him as much as you, is what Dunk says. And, there's like, Maker's like, yep. And, every time Valor does something, they're going to say Baelor would have done it better, which is very like, suddenly Maker is 100% Stannis to me. In the, anytime a battle's lost, people are going to say, well, Baelor would have won, just the way Stannis is like, always feels like, well, Robert would have. So he definitely feels that, like, at this point, Maker obviously doesn't know he's going to be king, but I mean, he definitely feels like that, like, we're never, like, because he's gone, we're never ever going to have the chance to ever match up to him. Like, that chance is gone. And we'll always, always. And he's like, Dunk says, I sit under this tree and look at my feet and ask if I couldn't have spared one. How could my foot be worth a prince's life? Which, we find out, I think we're gonna find out um that it absolutely is. And they talk about the Humphreys and like how they had died too. And um they just, they're looking for answers for reasons that this happened. And they're like, Dunk is trying to comfort him a little bit, but Maker's not really looking for that. I think he's looking for, in some ways, I think that he's looking for Dunk to be special, for there to be a reason that this happened.
Mm.
And I think he finds it, and that's why what happens, which is, you know he says, Egg needs to be a squire, but he refuses to be a squire for anyone but Dunk. And, Dunk tells him, like, I'll take Egg as a squire, but like, he's gonna need to be a hedge knight. He's gonna need to go through some hardship. And basically is kind of like saying, without saying, that, your sons suck because they've been spoiled, and they haven't been raised with any true hardship. and to make a better man out of them, they're going to have to, they need to face some of that. And, Maker's like, kind of like, are you kidding? And leaves. But Egg comes the next day and tells him that, he's in like kind of like, a traveler's cloak, and tells him that he's going to serve you. And, they decide that they might go to Dorne and see if they can find any puppet shows. And that's how it ends. Lovely. I don't know. What did you like? I mean, I obviously like Maker takes everything that Dunk says to heart, because I think he realizes Dunk's right. But I don't think he went there for that. I do think he went there to try to see, like, I mean, if you had a son that said they had visions and stuff too, I think you would be asking, like, well, is there something special about this guy? Like, is there something magical, like that, my brother died because of this? Like, what's happening?
Yeah, it feels like this. You would think this happened off page, right? Like he would have
Yeah.
counseled with him, and I think your theory is a good one, that he's kind of struggling for some kind of rhyme or reason for how these things have played out, and kind of this gives him a bit of a, I don't know if having an out is the right word, but or a phrase, but it, I think he feels like by having his son go with Dunk, it gives a purpose. It gives some rhyme or reason to how
He's
these
trying to
things.
find meaning.
Because I struggled with them. Like, why would he just do that? I don't know. I don't buy that.
Oh, and I
But
do think he believes that. I mean, he doesn't, like, I don't know how. I mean, we know that like Maker and Baelor were raised, like, I mean, they were battling Damon Blackfire when they would have been like teenagers. And, their grandfather was, shitty Egan. And so they might have had, and, like, they might have had like a more contentious or rigorous like childhood because of that, potentially. Like, they were definitely like battle hardened at an age, like, now that we're in peace, that, his kids didn't really, like, none between Baelor and Maker, like, their sons haven't had to really deal with that. So maybe he sees some truth in it too.
I
yeah.
think, he suffered a loss. He's trying to find meaning. I think that's a natural human,
Yeah.
you know.
And also there's the real pragmatic reality that, Egg is way down the line.
Yeah.
Although, yeah, I mean, yeah. Well, he's Aegon the Unlikely, right?
Right.
Yeah. Do we have any questions about this part? Or I think you had said there were some show questions as well.
Our remaining questions all have to do with the adaptation that's coming in January.
Yeah.
So, let me start out with the general one. Buck O'Hare from the Discord asks, what do you need in the adaptation?
I mean, I guess I need it to be relatively faithful and not be dark.
Yeah, same. I
Yeah.
want
Like,
a golden
literal and figuratively.
sunshine fields, apple trees,
Yeah.
elm
Yeah.
trees.
And
I,
can
I
be like Dunk can't be a gray character.
No.
no. I need it to be, if faithful in spirit at the very least. But yeah,
Yeah.
not dark. And I'm done with trying to figure out what the hell happened in battles. I need to be able to see. Hopefully
Yeah.
they
Like,
learn their lesson
literally and
there.
figuratively light.
Um Life Scene 8420 from Reddit asks, what do you think about the actors who will portray the characters? Also, what do you think we will see that will connect to the main story? So I have up the IMDb page. I mean, they look good. I'm not familiar, I think, with most of these people. I've seen some of them. I know I've seen in things, but I don't remember them specifically. But the look is good, and the trailer looks good. Like they
Yeah. I mean, the
know?
clips from various conventions of the guys that play Dunk and Egg, like it does kind of seem like they picked someone who's like Dunk and someone who's like Egg, which I think is great. The one guy that I'm familiar with is actually the actor who plays Darren, was in the My Lady Jane, where they're all secretly animals, and he is one of the Dudleys, and he's kind of foppish and really fun, like really fun. So I actually think like he might be a fantastic Darren because it's kind of a similar character. So I'm looking forward to him. And then I do think the guy who plays the Laughing Storm isn't quite like I want him to be like he seems like he's silly, but not like hot and big enough to be a Baratheon. And I feel
He
like he
was
needs to be all of it.
I know who he is. He was in The Crown. And he played one of Prince Philip's buddies who was having all kinds of
Okay.
affairs. It was good.
Yeah. I mean, it's just and like there's a lot of the Laughing Storm in the trailer, so it does seem like maybe they're making him a bit of a bigger character. Like I
Yeah.
don't know if we see Baelor, for example, in the trailer at all. We see Arian, who looks perfect.
Yeah.
And I think the kid who plays Raymond Fossaway looks good. Like he kind of looks like a little stocky. Like, yeah, okay. But
Yeah.
yeah, like and Tanzel looks beautiful. Like, she looks perfect.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Regina Bickman on Reddit asks, do you think the show will reference the fact that Brienne's great-grandfather and Jamie's great-grandmother had a relationship? Or will they ignore that because of the twincest ending and they don't want to rattle cages too much?
Well, I mean, to go back to the earlier question about how they're gonna if there's a connection to the events from the main story. I mean, I've advocated for having like Brienne as a framing device, like reading the stories, like having like
Yeah.
Gwyneth Christie actually
Oh
do
my God, could you imagine
Gwendolyn,
her voice
yeah,
coming
like
to narrate?
yeah, do like a voiceover, which I think would be would be fantastic because I think that's an important thing and a fun thing. And we I don't think do we never saw Brienne with the shield in the show, unfortunately.
Right.
I mean, we kind of lost her having that shield, but I mean, to reference her, I think it has to be through her because that's the confirmed person. It makes sense, and like their characters are pretty similar and stuff too. So I mean, even if it was like her telling it to Pod or doing it through the device of the White Book if they wanted to keep show canon. But I mean, there's no obligation for this story to keep with show canon. Like, why? They don't have to. Like, they could do
I
book
mean,
canon.
if they could make it happen with book canon, that would be the cherry on the sundae. But
Yeah.
I'm keeping my hopes real low because been burned too many times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back
I
and answer
think it's,
the first
I
question
mean, you
again.
know, the
I
whole relationship. Oh, go ahead, Vlad. I'm sorry.
so I want to go back and answer the first question over because for me, what I need from the show is I really want heavy-handed Brienne link to Dunk, and I want it to be very obvious, and hopefully it will kind of cement in people's head that I feel she's a bigger character than I think she was given kind of any kind of acknowledgement of in that in the show,
Mhm.
Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
And then our final question from some person named Chicky.
Chicky, who's that?
Guys, I'm so sad that I can't be on these episodes. Please, will you tell me which 3 scenes from the Hedge Knight you most want to see adapted on the show?
Brains. Sorry.
Wait. If I was there, I would have talked all about. Oh, sorry. If I was there, all I would have talked about were the things I hope they wouldn't leave out of the show. So, Lot wants to see brains.
I can't wait to see that one.
I need to see, are there no true knights among you?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I really hope everything with the puppets is there.
Yeah. Well, and I've actually in the trailer you see the puppets look like amazing.
No, but I mean, I want all the Tanzel. That
Oh,
the
yeah.
one thing I've got here is I'm looking at this cast.
And it's
It's
all
all
dudes,
men.
yeah.
It's all men but her. And I'll tell you what I do not want. I do not want background prostitutes running around half naked or naked. I want women who are, you know. So
Yeah.
if all I'm gonna get is Tanzel, then I want all the Tanzel.
I want I want Dunk and Egg, like when they're watching, I want them watching the stars by their little creek bed elm tree. And I I want to see like him being sad about Sweetfoot.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
nice.
The
And
shield
then,
is prominent. I want to see everything about that shield getting created
oh
and
yeah,
some
yeah. And I
story
think,
for it. Yeah.
The guy playing the armorer, I don't know anything about him as an actor, but he looks awesome.
and I want a lot of Darren. I mean, not just I like the actor, but I also find like the Darren scenes are kind of wild. Like just in the inn, and then when he's like with Darren and Egg kind of acting like brothers. Like I kind of like that because
Yeah.
we always see Egg as separated from his family for the most part. And so I think like seeing him with the brother that he loves and having,
Wonderful.
like that's kind of cool. And I would like to see that.
I kind of like that most of these people are not there's not really big names in here, which I kind of like because they're not bringing
No,
any baggage.
no, I mean, there's
Sorry, I
really,
interrupted you.
no, I mean, there's like really no one who's a big name.
Ouch. No, I get what you mean. I think probably the best way to go, honestly.
And I have a question. How the hell are they going to make 6 episodes of television out of this little thin novella?
They're not are they they're not full hour episodes, are they?
No, they're half an hour episodes, but still, like, this is like, I mean, if you think of like episode 5 is probably the trial by 7, episode 6 is like the afterwards, and then,
So so 4 is probably him trying to get the 7 together.
yeah, and then
3
3
is the
is
incident with the puppets.
okay, 2 is just like the atmosphere and like meeting Baylor and Maker, and then 1 is like him
Is
and
Arlen
burying Sir
die or him
Arlen.
burying Arlen and journeying and maybe
Yeah,
meeting Peg at the
okay,
end. A half an hour goes by fast,
I
right?
guess, yeah.
I'm honestly glad it's just 6 episodes. Like that seems
Oh,
like a
any
good
more would be ridiculous.
yeah. So I am cautiously optimistic.
Right, do we have anything else?
That is it for our mail.
All right, well, if you would like to send us mail, you can find us at closethedoorand@gmail, on the Jamie Brienne subreddit, on Blue Sky at Close the Door and Come Here. Like and subscribe and review us wherever you listen to your podcasts, and support the podcast on Patreon. And with that, I am closing the door. Get out.